fix my hair. Hey guys, what is up? What is the crack? How are you doing? I hope you are doing good. Welcome back to my channel, and I'm gonna come with a new video today. Not a review, not a vlog, something a little bit different, which is essentially a love letter to Mean Girls the Musical. So last night I ended up winning the lotto for the second time for Mean Girls the Musical. So I've seen Mean Girls the Musical 3 times in the last 6 weeks, which is pretty impressive. And at this stage I've seen the entire cast. The first two times I saw the show, I had understudies on for Janice, so I saw T-Boy, Gianni and Nelly. And finally I got to see Bart Wilbur-Weed, so I feel like now I can properly talk about my love and adoration for this musical. Let's go. So as I was saying, I've won the lotto twice now, which is pretty insane. The last 3 lottos I've actually entered, in-person lottos, I've actually won. So I've won Mean Girls Lottery twice and won once on this island. And it's funny because the Mean Girls Lottery, the 2 times I won it, well the 2 times I've entered it, each time my name's been called last. This time around I actually ended up like giving my lotto ticket back, and I said I'm actually going to do standing room instead, because whatever, standing room is kind of better. It's not that it's kind of better, but I kind of prefer being a little bit further back. Either way, today I want to do, like, as I say, a love letter to Mean Girls the Musical and my top 5 favorite things about this show. So number 1, the first thing I'm going to start off with is the cast. Oh my goodness, I have said for a while now that this cast is my currently my favorite cast on Broadway. They are killing it. But I kind of was thinking about it and I figured out my 3 favorite cast members in this show. Now, hear me out, I love the entire cast. I honestly, there's nobody in this cast I don't love. But my 3 favorite people are 1, Taylor Lautner, 2, Ashley Park, and 3, Gray Henson. Taylor Lautner is phenomenal in this role. She is perfect in this role. I could not fault one thing about her. Her gestures, the way she walks, her arc of her character is fantastic. She sings incredibly. She's an absolute powerhouse. I could not fault her in the slightest. Ashley Park is equally fantastic as Gretchen Wieners. I love Ashley Park because she has the comic timing, which is perfect. She has Gretchen down to a T, and she can also dance. And she can sing. Like, she sings phenomenally in that song. What's her song called? What's Wrong With Me? She does a fantastic job of singing that. I just think she is fantastic, and it makes sense why, if we're quickly going to talk about the Tony Awards, why it was Taylor and I believe, I understand why it was Taylor and Ashley that got nominated, because they have the meatiest roles, I want to say, and they've got the most to work with. I know Bart in the show is fantastic, but she doesn't have as much to work with as the rest of the cast. Again, Erica Henderson is great, but again, she's not given as much to really show off as opposed to Gretchen and Regina. And I've seen the show 3 times. I really think I understand why. Not that they're not fantastic, or Kate Rockwell as Karen. They're all equally fantastic and brilliant, but it was those 2 that had the most to work with in the show. Thirdly, Gray Henson is just incredible. Gray is, I don't know how Gray does it, because every time I've seen the show, I'm watching Gray constantly, and he's like wiping away all this sweat that's going down his face, because he is giving this role everything. He is working his butt off, and it's working because he's getting so much laughs and applause from the audience. He's just hilarious. His demeanor on stage is Damien. I don't know how, when they've recast, I know they're going to do it because there's so many other actors and actresses out there that can do these roles as well, but now when I'm looking at it, I'm like, how are they going to recast the leads? How? They're perfect. Second thing I'm going to talk about is the score. Number 2 is the score by Nell Benjamin and Jeff Richmond. Now, I think the most criticism this show gets is because of its score. And I think that people have an issue more with the lyrics than with the actual music itself done by Jeff Richmond. And people I feel like gave Nell Benjamin a really hard time saying her lyrics were weak and that they're not up to par. But having seen the show 3 times and gone with different people each time, we have all come to the consensus that, and I really truly believe this, that the lyrics aren't weak. The lyrics are the way they are because these are teenagers talking. So I don't think Nell Benjamin has done a bad job. I think Nell Benjamin has actually been very true to the characters. We all know Nell Benjamin can write fantastic lyrics, but she's true to these individual high school characters. This score though, I really enjoy. I have to say, this album, because I listen to the Cast album arguably every day of the week, because if I'm getting the subway in or whatever, I listen to it. But arguably, it's one of my favorite scores, and not that it's the best score out there, because it's not the best score out there, but it is so much fun and it's so easy to listen to. If I was to talk about my favorite songs from the show, that would take longer. It's probably easier for me to say which songs I don't love out of the entire score. Interestingly, I don't love Fearless, the Act 1 closer. I don't love Stop, the Act 2 opener. I don't love what's that song by the Mathletes, Do This Thing. All the rest of the songs I'm obsessed with. But if I had to pick my favorite ones, I would say my favorite songs from the show are Someone Gets Hurt, Stars, what else do I love? Apex Predator. There's more, so many more. World Burn. Like if I really, I'm clutching at straws here. Like I just adore this entire score. I think it's so much fun. It's so easy to listen to. It's one of my favorite scores in the last couple of years, and I agree it's not the best score out there, but for me, I just find it so much fun. It's so easy to listen to. Number 3 is The Book, which is by Tina Fey, and like the rest of the world, I adore Tina Fey. Tina Fey did a really good thing with this book where she didn't rely solely on the iconic lines from the movie. And a lot of the iconic lines from the movie that happen at certain points in this musical, because this is not the movie, it's a totally different entity, it's a musical version of the movie. But a lot of the iconic lines from the movie, which are certain points in the show, she actually wrote some new lines in there and new jokes, which might not be as good as the movie, but are still very funny. So I think Tina Fey was very wise in not solely relying on the script which she wrote for the movie, but instead she adapted the script and added it and beefed up the script. She has one of the funniest scores on Broadway in a long time. I don't think it's the funniest score on Broadway, but it damn well does a good job of making the entire audience laugh. And again, she, provided the cast with the tools. But it's the cast who really made the book like excel and work. The cast are working their butt off. I mean, I know I've already spoke about the cast who really like hit this book out of the park. Like they are doing a phenomenal job with this book. I'm thrilled people have acknowledged that Tina Fey has done a fantastic job for her first, Broadway musical. So I really believe that there could be a good chance in the future she may return and do another musical on Broadway. As of right now, she probably doesn't need to because the show is making so much money in the box office, but we'll see. The fourth thing I want to speak about is choreography, and the choreography is by Casey Nicola, and I adore Casey Nicola. I mean, he also did the direction, he also directed the story, or directed the musical, but I really love Casey Nicola. I've been a fan of him since I saw Tuck Everlasting a couple of years ago, because anyone that's seen that show knows how beautiful that show was. I mean, by beautiful, I enjoyed the score again, but his choreography for that show was gorgeous, especially like the last, I think it was like 8 minutes of the show. There's a gorgeous like dream number that they did, and it's just so beautiful to watch. But Casey Nicola's choreography in the show, it's very much my type of the kind of choreography I like to watch. You got tap in there, you've got very much contemporary choreography, and it works because you're dealing with a high school, you're dealing with a young cast. Casey Nicola did a fantastic job. Honestly, the choreography is probably one of my favorite things in the show, and that's saying a lot. Number 5, and the final thing I'm going to speak about for this show is something I've really picked up on slowly as I've seen the show, and it's the message behind the show. And I really love the message because this show, when they were doing the show, obviously they had to elongate the movie from 90 minutes to what the Broadway musical, which was about 2.5 hours. So they had a really good opportunity to beef up these characters and to give these characters certain arcs. Especially the roles of Regina and Gretchen. Because Regina, as opposed to the movie, I don't feel like you ever got to know Regina as a character. Or as a person, you just saw this mean girl. But then in the musical, Regina has an opportunity to kind of explain herself and to help other people understand why she acts a particular way. And then you've got Gretchen. Gretchen in the movie just seemed almost like a pushover. There was nothing else to it. She was basically essentially a pushover. But in this musical, you realize that Gretchen's got these other little issues going on, and that the way she acts is a response to how she's feeling inside. She's constantly looking for someone to follow. She's not brave enough to go off on her own. But in the musical, Gretchen's one of those characters who, towards the end, you're really, really rooting for. And then you've got Karen, who, well, Karen wasn't beefed up in any way. She's still like that dumb girl throughout, but she has really cute moments in the musical where you like really believe in her, and I love that. The issue I have with one of the characters was that Janice, I don't feel like they could have given Janice, I feel like Janice could have had more material in the sense that like they make a joke. I mean, there's always this thing where they joke about Janice being a lesbian, and I feel like this would have been a fantastic opportunity for them to make her a lesbian or something, because there's a joke, I'm not going to say the joke in the show, but there's a joke or a line in the show where she implies it, and for me I'm like, it's not enough to imply it. I feel like because this is an opportunity to really like give us a really good character, I feel like you should have actually addressed it. But again, the meaning behind the show was essentially, you know, people are people can be mean, but at the end of the day, you've got to support each other. It's all about girl power. At the end of the day, we're all humans, we all have our issues, but we have to keep supporting each other to get through life. How deep. I'm gonna wrap up this little love letter right now. But again, I love the show. I don't think it's the best show on Broadway. I don't think it's the best show in a long time. I think there has been other productions that are better than it, but take it for face value. If you want a good time, if you want to laugh, if you want to feel a lot of emotions, and if you just want to smile pretty much the entire way throughout the show, go see Mean Girls. Try and get tickets to Mean Girls. It's very hard to get tickets to it, but I really would recommend you see the show. I mean, there's a reason why I've seen it 3 times. It's that good. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.